Dang. Can we just film the video? You getting mad close for no reason? Like, back up. Yo, dang. Basically the start of something new. This is a beginning of a new series that I will be doing on this channel where I share my life experiences, events, and things like that I either find funny or something that I learned to better myself with. Like, you know, that's what my whole platform is for. So these are the Rellytoorell narratives. So welcome to the Rellytoorell narratives. And yeah, let's get into the first part. All right, so part one to this is basically where I get the shoes from. So starting things off, we get these shoes from some side guy. Even though I told people that I got it from Finish Line and Foot Locker, you know, so I had to cover my back up. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a liar though. Don't get me wrong, but I just have to tell people that I got it from Foot Locker, Finish Line, cause I'm not gonna go out like that. So this side guy that we got it from, he's basically at a soft spot. And I'm looking at all the shoes. He's like, yeah, I got these for you, man. I got these shoes. We got these. He has like 12. He has like 12s there. At the time, I don't know I'm not keeping up with numbers of the Jordans or anything like that. So honestly, I'm not educated on shoes. I just grab what I like. And most of the time, it was something that was popular. Not trying to brag or nothing, but it was something that was appealing to other people's eyes, things like that. So I had some decent shoes. You know, it's just I was just very uneducated. So at this time, I'm looking at all these shoes. He has like Galaxy foams, some 12s that just dropped. It's like it's like some gray and red 12s. At the time, I think he had some flu games. I don't. And then he has like the red foam posits and things like that. And you guys are gonna see my shoe later on, so that you don't be waiting for. Just know that it's coming up soon. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but we gonna show it in this video, man. We gonna show it. So yeah, we getting this, and he's like, I'm looking at the shoes, I'm picking them. I'm like, yo, these shoes right here is what everybody's talking about. Like, yo, I need these shoes right here. Like, these shoes is what everybody talking about. So I'm like, yo, he has these shoes. So we sitting. I'm like, yo, how much are these shoes? The person I'm with, we both asking like, how much are these shoes to the guy? And he's like, they're like $80. I'm like, yo, these shoes is $80. Keep in mind, like foam posits is like 200, 220, something like that. And like this is like when they was first blowing, like they was like blowing up crazy at this time. Like 8th, 7th grade, they was going crazy. All the high schools had it and things like that. I'm in middle school. Like I literally have not seen nobody. I've barely seen people wear foams at this time. So keep that in mind as well. So yeah, he's like, yeah, these shoes are $80. I can give it to you for 80. I think he was selling them for like 100 and some change. And we talking down to 80. I'm like, yo, I really want these shoes. I'm like, and this ain't no Foot Locker or no Finish Line, so why not try to beat the best off? Like, you know, we gonna try and drew him down a little bit. So he's like, yeah. I was like, I can buy them off for 80. Man, now I see why he gave it to me at a discount price. Like, I see why he gave it to me at a discount price. Like, it was no problem with him dropping that price, and I see now why he dropped the price. Cause, and I'm asking the question, and I'm like, he dropped the price? These are some official shoes. People really don't drop the shoes prices when you selling shoes, unless it's somebody warm or you like one time and they popping like that and they just really can't afford them. But this is like brand new shoes, so I'm like, all right, like literally dead stock shoes. So we like, all right, I'm gonna buy it. I'm like, all right, so we gonna buy them. So he give them to us, we pack them up, stuff like that. I go home, like, when I tell you I go home hype, I'm like, yo, I'm really about to be fly at this, I'm like, yo, I'm really about to be fly at school. Like, I'm in middle school, 8th grade, I'm like, yo, I'm really about to be fly. Like, I'm like, you know how you first get like a nice shoe? Like, I knew this shoe was so popular that like I was like, yo, I'm like one of the first kids in school to have it, so I'm hyped. So I'm at home. I'm constantly opening the box. I'm constantly going to the closet, opening up this box. I'm like, yo, I really got these shoes. And at this time, there was no Snapchat, no Instagram like that. And I don't flex, so I don't put nothing on social media. But yeah. So basically, I'm constantly opening up this box to these shoes. I'm like, yo, I really have these shoes. I'm like, yo, it's really over tomorrow. So I'm like, this is not the. I don't even think this is the first day of school either. Like, this is like, is it the first day of school? I'm pretty. Well, yeah, it's the first. It's the first day of school. I think it is the first day of school. Cause the way it had happened, I'm like, yo, okay, I'm skipping around too much. All right, so yeah, so it's the first day of school. I'm like, I'm picking out. Cause now I think about, I'm picking out my outfit. I'm laying it out on the bed. I'm like, yo, Pam, you wearing this? You wearing this? I'm like, yo, you. Yo, I'm like, yo, you wearing this at the top, you wearing this as the bottom, and then you got the shoes on, you really about to be over. so, yo, I sit the cologne on the bed that I'm matching up my outfit with. Like, I'm sweating laughing. I set the cologne on the outfit that I'm wearing. I'm like, yo, you wearing this cologne, you wearing these socks. I got the socks rolled up in the ball, tied together. Got the socks on, got the pants, got the shirt out, and the shoes, and then the cologne I'm wearing. So I pack my bags. You know, this is daytime too. Like, this is still daytime. This is how hype I am to wear these shoes the next day. This is daytime, and I go to sleep. You know, preparing to go to school the next day. You know, you be so hyped to wear that first fresh outfit that you can wear. So I'm hyped. I'm like, yo, I can barely sleep. I think I went to bed at like 3, had to get up at like 6. I'm like, yo, I'm really about to be fly tomorrow, so I'm hyped. I'm like, yo, I'm about to see all my friends tomorrow, and I'm about to have these phone calls. It's about to get raps. so yeah, I'm like hyped to go to school next day. Part 2. So basically, I get ready the first morning. Bam, throw on my outfit. I got it on my yellow polo and the black jeans. Y'all gonna see that later on in this video too. But yeah, I have on yellow polo, black jeans. Bam, shoes on, new socks, all that going on. So bam, I'm gonna grab my book bag, my hoodie. I got on a hoodie too. I got the hoodie on, everything. You know, walk to the bus stop. And on the way, I part ways with one of my friends. And he's like, yo, Terrell. He's like, yo, you really got the phone? He's like, yo, you wearing phones? I'm like, I'm like, yo, you. yo, I cannot tell the story. I'm like, because I'm really feeling myself. I'm walking right and everything. I'm like, yo, I already got you already know I got the phones on, man. And I'm humble though. So like, I'm telling, I'm like, yo, I'm like, yo, you wearing Jordans? What you talking about? So we start gassing each other out, going back and forth. Like, I'm like, yo, you fly. He like, yo, you really stuck. You really fly. But honestly, I really don't know if they was woke. This is the thing, that the whole story is so confusing, because this is what makes it funny. But I don't know if other people knew that they was fake along with me, because this was so frequent. This was so unusual. Like, the shoe was so popular, but it was so uncommon to have because of it just being released and everybody was buying them so fast. All right, so now I'm on the bus. As I'm on the bus, I'm literally, like, you know how you can head on the on the back of the seat of the bus and just be like sleeping. Man, I was not sleeping. I was not asleep. I'm literally staring at my shoes the whole time. I'm like, yo, Terrell, I'm acting like I'm asleep on the first day of school, but I'm like, I got my headphones in and stuff. I'm like, yo, you really flying. You really about to get mad at the compliments today. Like, so it's really a wrap. So bam. Then I get to school, and literally when I get there, they're like, I'm walking. We walk through the hallway, stuff like that. Some people notice me, but everybody just still saying what's up to their friends and stuff. We get to the breakfast line, right? So the breakfast line is one long line. We in middle school, and it's one long line. Everybody in every grade is lined up, obviously, like, you know. So now with my people, I'm talking to people, and they like, yo, we all like point out each other's outfit, and they like, yo, Terrell got on phones, yo. I'm like, you already know I got the phone, but no, I'm not really like that. I'm just gassing up a little bit. Let me stop. But I am feeling myself. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm like, nah, y'all. I'm gassing other people. I'm like, yo, nah, y'all fly. Y'all really fly. So then we get to lunch, like the regular lunch time, and like literally when I get to lunch, like I can feel eyeballs just like pinballing on me. Like I'm like in lines. Like I'm on a snack line for the first day. You know, I'm on a snack line getting food. And I just feel like people just staring at me. Like, so I'm like, yo, these sneakers really bring a lot of attention. They bright shoes and they bring a lot of attention. So I'm like, yo, these shoes, I had to cherish these shoes. And so somebody yells across. They're like, yo, Terrell, where you get your shoes from, bro? I'm like, yeah, I got them from Foot Locker. I got them from Foot Locker. I honestly, y'all could have got me. So this is why I'm not gonna lie, man. I said I got from Finish Line and Foot Locker. I was telling people different answers every single time just to cover myself up, and I know I didn't get it from there. But yeah, so I told him either Finish Line or Foot Locker that I got it from. And he's like, yo, that's really crazy. He's like, yo, they real? And the thing is, like I said, they uncommon. So I'm like, he's like, yo, they real? I'm like, yeah, they real. I'm like, yo, look at the bottom. And then at the bottom, they have a Nike Plus sign at the bottom. So I'm like, and the red Nike Plus sign at the bottom looks so official, it's not even funny. So like it throws you off that bad. Like, so I'm like, yeah, look at the bottom, bro. Like, they real. So yeah. And so yeah, he's like, wow, they really are. He really are real. But then like I see them talking at the table. I'm like, yo, they talking about my shoes. I'm like, yo, I'm really fly. And so yeah, I see them talking at the table. I think that's what they're talking about. They might not be talking about. They might be talking about how what they think they fake or not. But you know, that's that time. And yeah, I go in middle school wearing them about like 1 or 2 times. Or 3 times, because that's how important these shoes were. Like I want to take care of most of the shoes that I wear, so I don't really wear my shoes like that in like rainy days, stuff like that, snow, things like that. So it's just like I'm taking care, I'm cherishing these shoes, about to put them in like a award case because they so hot to me. Like I'm like, yo, these shoes have to be saved, right? So I'm saving these shoes, and so bam, I go the whole 8th grade wearing them only like 3 times. And that's just it. Alright, so now this is when it gets real, man. This is when it gets real. Literally, alright, so literally I get to high school. Like I said, I wore these shoes only 3 times in 8th grade just to save them from getting like creased, things like that. You know, like I said, I'm uneducated on the shoe, and I don't know that foams really don't crease like that. But these really ain't foams, so I don't even know if I think they would crease. They haven't really creased, but see, I feel like people from the 7th to 8th grade, I feel like some people just didn't want to tell me what was going on with my shoe because, like, you know, like, not saying that nobody's better than another person, but like, you know, you go to ninth grade, you in 9th grade as a freshman, and you have your 12th graders. You know, you gotta have like respect for the 12th graders because now they about to graduate a little bit. So you know, you ain't gonna be like nobody under class is really gonna go up to you and be like, yo, you really wearing like some really fake shoes and you looking crazy out here. And that's like, you know, nobody in like 6th grade, or you wouldn't think that nobody in 6th grade or nothing like would say that. So I'm assuming that's what that case was. I don't know. I guess nobody really knew because we was in middle school. This was fun times. We was still wearing Aeropostale. Like literally in 8th grade, we had Aeropostale and everything like that. And it was just fine. It was skinny jeans, Aeropostales at that time. So I don't know if that's what the case was. I don't know why nobody told me at this time. I wish they would have told me before I went to high school though, man. That's the thing. Nobody told me before I went to high school. But my assumption is nobody really knew because I'm sure somebody in my grade would have said something. Or I don't know. But yeah, all right. So like I think it gets around like the middle time of the year. I'm like, yo. So I'm like, now I can show them off to everybody. Like, you know, So I'm gonna be up there with the 12th graders looking stylish and stuff. Yeah, this is where it goes wrong. This is where it goes downhill from here. It starts going like this from here. Like I was like this in 8th grade, but now it starts to go like this. And I get my outfit together. I'm wearing the first 8th grade outfit that I wore for the first day in 9th grade, around the middle time in 9th grade, if that makes sense. School, bam. Nobody said nothing again. So once again, lunchtime, like, you know, lunchtime, everybody can break free, do what they want, a little bit, walk around, talk to people, you know, stuff like that. So we get in line, things like that. And as I'm in line, once again, I'm in line waiting to get my food. Somebody from across the whole entire lunchroom over there, not even in the like, I'm not even who I'm talking to in front of me. It's 2 lines, bam, it's like 2 lines, one over here, one over here. He's like, yo. He's like, yo. And I'm like, why is he yelling? And I turn my head, and I'm not paying him no mind. And then he's like, yo. He's like, yo, kid in the yellow. I'm like, yo. And then got my hands in my pockets, you know, I'm feeling good. I'm like, yo. And I kind of already knew what he was going to say. Cause I'm like, yeah, nobody really seen these homes. So, like, you know, I'm wearing these homes. So I guess. And so I kind of knew what he's saying. So I kind of turned my head quick. That's how you know I was feeling myself. Turned my head quick, kind of figured that he was talking to me. He's like, yo. And he don't know my name, but he's like, yo, I like your shoes, bro. Like you really fly right now. He's like, yo, you. I'm really trying to grow. I'm trying to grow up and be like you. I'm like, all right. I'm like, nah. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. You know. Like, yeah, I'm not doing too much. I started talking about his outfit a little bit. I'm like, yo, you fly. But at the end of the day, like I said, this is all gonna make sense to you guys. So yeah, I'm like, yo, I got another comment in high school now. I got a compliment. Let's go. I'm hyped. I'm like, we really getting compliments out here. It's time to turn it up. So I sit down at the table that I'm talking about. There's a table next to me. There's the older kids there. They're like, yo, you got phones on right now? He's like, yo, are those real? So I'm at the table. I got my feet like bent up. So I put my feet up to show him the bottom, the Nike Plus. And he's like, all right, I see you. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, yeah. I proved to him that they real. I told him they from Foot Locker or Finish Line, one of the two, as I said, you know. But I tell him that, and then time goes by, bam. I wear him the next day after that. Like, I'm good. So I'm like, yo, I got enough confidence. So I'm built. I'm like, yo, Terrell, you building your rep up. Let's go. Stupid. Next day, we wearing another outfit. Going back to school with the same shoes on. And out of nowhere, I'm walking through the hallways, transferring my class. And like, yo, people's like, yo. He was like, yo, I've been looking for you all day, bro. He's like, yo, I've been looking for you all day when I tell you all day. And I'm like, oh, you've been looking for me. I'm like, oh, so I'm like, why are you looking for me? Like that left me kind of weird. And then I was like, I didn't say that, but I was like, what? And then he's like, yo, your shoes, bro. He's like, yo, your shoes is really fire. He was like, yo, I really need to know where you got them from because you is fly right now. I'm like, oh, I'm like, yo, I'm not fly. I'm like, yo, now you dragged it. I'm like, I'm not even that fly, bro. And so I'm done. I'm like, I'm really that fly. Like, I'm mad hype. And I'm like, yo, I'm really that fly. He's like, yo, bro, let me get a picture of these shoes, please. He was like, yo, I'm about to tell my peoples to get these shoes from me. I'm like, oh, say less. And I'm by the locker. I'm like, he's like, yo, just stick your foot out a little bit. So I stick my foot out from where I'm standing at. Like, you know, I'm just like, got my foot out to the side. And so bam, he snaps a picture. He's like, yo, good looks, bro. I'm really about to tell my people to get these shoes. It's about to be a wrap. I'm like, all right. I'm like, yo, all right. I'm really setting trends. Yo, I'm like, yo, the way you came up to me, he was like, yo, you really fly, son. Like, I'm like, yo, this is a wrap, man. Like you really about to be the man up in this high school from here on out. I'm like, you just gotta keep it up from here. I'm like, all right. So, bam, that happens. So, as I'm walking through the hallway, I'm still feeling myself, like, you know, like, yo, he just snapped a picture of me. Like people taking pictures of my shoes. Like, I'm a celebrity out here. Like, all these shoes really that good? Like, I had other shoes before, but I never had that happen to me. And I'm like weirded out by that happening. I'm like, yo, why did that happen? I'm like, I guess he gotta figure. I told him where they were. I told him they was at Foot Locker or Fitness Line. So I'm assuming that he gonna tell the people to get them for him because he wanted that bad. All right. So bam, that happens, and then so I got all these books in my hand, walking through the hallways. And out of nowhere, I'm talking to somebody. I'm like, yo, what we doing today, bro? I'm like, you really gotta get on a basketball team. I don't know what we talking about. We talking about something. I'm like, yo, and I turn around the corner, and I got somebody seeing my shoe hit the corner before I even walked around the corner. Like, like I don't know what happened in the long hallway. And as I'm coming out, like, as soon as I step out, I'm like talking to the person. I'm talking to the person next to me. And out of nowhere, like, somebody just yells, like, yo, them shoes. He's like, yo, them, it's fake. I'm like, yo. I'm like, yo, wait, what? I'm like, I'm like, yo, whose shoes he talking about? I'm like, somebody got some fake shoes? So I'm like, nah. I'm like, yo, they really about to get on somebody. Like, they really about to get fake shoes. Somebody really got fake shoes on, like, right now. But I turn around, I'm looking around, too. I'm, like, lost at this time. Like, I'm lost on who he's talking to, so I'm, like, looking around, but I'm thinking that it could be me, because I know, deep down inside, I know where I got these shoes from, so, like, that's the thing, and I really didn't know, because I was uneducated on these foams at this time, or just shoes, period. Like, Jordans, I really wasn't, like, up to date with them. Like, I know about 1s and stuff like that, 11s, and like I said, I went off with just what I liked as, like, my eyes. So, and it wasn't high school, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. But, all right, so yeah, man, somebody yells like, yo, them shoes is fake. And so I'm like, who's he talking to? I'm like, yo, he really about to get on somebody and roast somebody real quick. But I'm like, he could be talking to me. I'm like, somebody did just snap a picture of me earlier, right? So I'm putting all of it together. And next thing I know, all right, so the day ends, bam. So I go and hop on Xbox, right? So, and I already have a bad rep on Xbox because at this time I have a Connect mic. I don't have no regular mic. So anybody that's grew up with me know that Connect mics was the worst thing to have. So right off the back, people didn't like the way that audio sound. So some people just didn't want me in their party. So, but at this time I was in older kids' parties. Like I was talking to, like, I had a few of my friends, like, I had people in, like, 1 or 2 of my friends playing Xbox with me, but we was in, like, a little bit higher grade parties with, like, the 11th graders, stuff like that. My bad. If I'm talking weird, it's because I've been rambling. I'm hot in here, like, nonstop. So, but yeah, So I joined the party, and then, oh, here goes somebody with this Connect mic. He was like, yo, here's come Terrell with his Connect mic. He said, Terrell. Boy, when I joined the party, he's like, here come Terrell with the Connect mic. He's like, Terrell. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, Terrell. He's like, ain't that the boy with the fake phone closet? I'm like, yo, wait, what's going on? And then, yo, deep down inside, I'm like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, yo, and I'm like, yo, what is going on? He was like, yeah, ain't that Terrell with the fake phone posits? I'm like, fake phone? I'm like, what, you tripping? I'm like, yo, you tripping? I'm like, I ain't got no fake phones. You wilding out. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, I ain't got no fake phones. You wildin' out. Like, I got these things from Foot Locker or Finish Line. One of them, I'm telling you, I told one of the two. But yeah, so I'm in the party. We going back and forth. He's like, yeah. It was like everybody's laughing at me in the party. I'm like, yo, what is so funny? Y'all laughing for no reason? Because my shoes is the realest thing that you can get out right now. I mean, I'm not saying that, but I'm like these shoes are real. So, just to cover myself up, I'm not a lot. Like I said, I'm not a liar, nothing, like, you know. But it's just like I had my doubts about it. I just was so uneducated. I just didn't look it up on the internet. So, I was so concerned about being, like, you know, being up there with the popularity and not getting roasted all the time, stuff like that, that it got to me. So I had a lot about it, you know. But so yeah, like I'm like, yo, I'm like, nah, I don't have no fake phones, bro. I'm like, what is he talking about? So I'm going back and forth with him in a party, and like he's like, yo, send me. He's like, yo, if them things is fake, if them things is real, send me a picture of them things right now. So I sent him to one of my friends in the party. I know my shoes is real, so y'all telling me they fake, but they not. I'm like, these ones is real, bro. Like, you really bugging out. So yeah, so we go back and forth. I send her a picture. I send her the box. The box looks official too, but it has a little, like, it's a little weird from the other boxes that I have. So I'm like, yo, you can't really send in the box. And they asking for all of this. They asking for the box, everything. Oh no, I'm like, what is going on? Like, yo, how am I gonna send her the box and these shoes? I'm like, nah, you ain't getting no box, bro. The bottom of the shoe, because the bottom of the shoe is what really caught me to get these shoes. Like I said, the red plus check at the bottom is what caught me to get these shoes. So I'm sending them all that. I'm sending all the verification. I'm like, yo, these are real, bro. I don't have no, keep in mind, I don't have no receipt. I don't have no box. The box doesn't look official enough to me in my own eyes to make it even look like I got it to send it to them. Got it from Foot Locker to send it to them. So I'm like, yo, all right, so we're just gonna send the shoes, and then hopefully that covers it all. He's like, yo, where's the box? I'm like, bro, I told you I got it from Foot Locker, so I just didn't keep the box. I knew that box was sent. Open my closet, collecting dust. I knew it was literally like a plain box with just like a regular Nike check. And I'm like, unless you gonna go to Foot Locker and have a conversation with them, and they'll tell you it's real too. At this point, we stopped. Everybody's playing. We was playing Gears. We was literally playing Gears of War, Call of Duty, and all this stuff. And everybody just stops playing games to start searching on my shoes. There's about like 6 people in the party. I'm in there with like 1 or 2 of my friends in my grade, and it's like everybody else. It's like 3 other like older kids or whatever. And so like I'm like, yo, bro. I'm like, yo, y'all really searching up? I'm like, can we just play the game? I'm trying to get everybody to come back to playing the game. I'm like, yo, y'all really dragging it. I know my shoes real, so I'm about to keep playing the game, leveling up. So I'm playing the game, stuff like that, and I just keep getting messages, bam, bam, bam. They sending me, they like, yo, on the internet, I'm searching up these shoes, phone pauses with bubbles at the end. They fake. And I'm like, I go on the internet myself, I'm like, oh snap, bro. I'm like, yo, these things really might be fake. I was like, yo, I really know. And I'm searching up YouTube videos. I'm like, yo, this YouTuber right here is not confirming that they fake right here. So how can they be fake? Then you type in fake phone posits. I type in fake phone posits on Google Images. Bam, first picture. It's the same exact color, same exact bubbles on my phone posits that I got. I'm like, yo. And I look at the old phone posits. None of these phone posits have bubbles on them. I did not know none of these phone posits have bubbles. All right, so now I go to school the next day, right? And now, like, I come back to school and people was telling me, like, yo, they having debates about whether the shoes is real or not. And they trying to know what's real or not. So I'm like, oh my goodness. I know somebody has a picture of me out there. So I'm like, yeah, it probably is. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people snap. I seen people with phones out from, like, you know, across the like the line and stuff. But you know, I can't really tell if they was taking pictures. So I don't know if it's them talking about it. Like, I don't know. Like, I still don't know what's going on. You know. But I'm here, like, they come to me, they're like, yo, they having debates about whether the shoes is real or not. So I'm like, oh my goodness, man. Like, they really going crazy for these shoes. Like, is it really that big of a deal? Because, hold up, I'm going to show y'all something, man. I'm going to show y'all, right? And I'm like, yo, that's really crazy. Is it really that serious that like these shoes is fake? Like, I understand that they fake, but look, when I had these on, I'm not gonna try to be like cocky or nothing, but you know, I had these on too, and they beat up right now. Obviously, like they yellow, stuff like that. But these are 5s, right? These are Jordans. These are Jordans as well. Then I think I had some AJF Black Laser 4s. And yeah, so that was between 8th and 9th grade that I had these sneakers, right? Nobody was talking about these sneakers though, but they waited until I pulled the fake ones out, and then they went and had debate about these. So now I'm having a problem with it, cause like, you know, back then, like I was a kid too that used to be like, yo, he got on these, he got on this, or he got on Uspa, you know, like that was just the thing, like, you know. And it was just the people that I was hanging out with. So it was like, I didn't take no offense to it like that. It just was like, yo, I really do got fake shoes on. So, you know, I either got to change it or I can bowl up and just keep wearing it. But, you know, I was trying to fit in, you know, being in the, like, you know, you go to I was on the basketball team 9th grade. So going into the locker room, you had to come correct. Other than that, like the whole basketball team was going to be on you, or everybody was gonna be like, yo, you got bad hair day, or you wear Air Pastel, or this and that. You know, everybody had that day when they had bad times. So I didn't take no offense to it. It wasn't like, yo, it was like that crazy. Like, but my whole point is like, you know, nobody was talking about, you know, the good sneakers that I had on. They was waiting for me to be down with the fake sneakers. So at the end of the day, this whole video is just to show you guys that it's a learning experience, that these sneakers really don't mean nothing, because when you have the good quality sneakers, nobody's always gonna give you that compliment, or, you know, no one's gonna be like, yo, you really fly right now, you really fly, like take pictures of you, because then they too worried about, oh, like, yo, the term is, you know, I guess you could say meat rodding. That's what they like to use nowadays, you know what I mean? So, but at the same time, if you think about it, like if you see somebody with a nice sneaker, everybody's scared to like, yo, I mean, somebody gonna give you a compliment. Like my friends gave me compliments, like, you know, we all went like, yo, you wearing this, you wearing that. But yeah, but you know, like the outsiders ain't gonna be like, yo, I really like your shoes. I mean, you might get like 1 or 2, but a lot of people ain't gonna go crazy. But there's a lot of people I didn't even know was debating about these. Well, this is what I heard anyways. I didn't see that. Like, you know, I didn't hear too many debates myself, but sneakers don't really mean nothing. They really don't. Because you can walk the same amount of miles with these fake sneakers. Then, I mean, you know, obviously they might rip. I'm not gonna lie to you, but they might rip before the good quality sneaker like a Jordan or something like that. But you can still walk. You can wear them to the end of the soles. You know, for the unfortunate kids out there, you know, that don't have no sneakers, don't feed into what everybody says. Just keep doing you. Like, you know, I like Jordans now, but at this point, I'm like, yo, I really don't have to have Jordans if I, like, you know, if I didn't have money to afford it, or, you know, things like that. But now it became a thing that I got stuck into, like, the community where, like, I just see Jordan as appealing to my eye now, so I want them myself. It's not a need, but I want them, so I'd rather have them. But you know, if it came down to it, I would wear Walmart sneakers now. I still wear these. I still would wear these. And the story behind that is, you know, I wore these even after people were saying something about them. Like, I mean, I ain't wearing them obviously to school, because I was out of pocket, but I wore them out. You know, whatever y'all work had to do, I would just fool around in these sneakers right here. And one time I went into the store after I did some yard work, went into this Jamaican store to get some food, and this is grown man, you know, at this time I'm in 10th grade at this time, around 10, I think might have been in the 9th grade, but I think I'm in 10th grade around this time. This grown man, I guess he's a sneakerhead, he got some Concords on, the 11s, and he's like, and I'm wearing these sneakers, and he's just staring at it. I'm like, I already feel it coming, man. I feel it coming. And I don't know what it is when I'm in line, like when I'm about to get food, people wanna talk about my shoes. Can I just get my food in peace? That's it? Dang. But yeah, I'm in line and I'm about to get my food, and he's like, He's like, yo, man, like, you know those shoes is fake, right? I'm like, yeah, I already, people already told me that, you know, these are not foams. He's like, oh, okay. So I mean, he just let me know. He didn't come like, you know, disrespectful or nothing. And I didn't know who he was or nothing. But he was just like, yo, yeah, those is fake, bro. So I was like, yeah, I know that. At that point, I was like, you know, it didn't really matter. Like, my learned lesson was, it don't really matter no more. What shoes you got on, because obviously when nobody was talking about these. Nobody was talking about the Jordans that I was spending money on. But when I spend some cheap money, they want to talk about the bad ones. Ain't that backwards to you? Think about it. That's very backwards. You know, I mean, like I said, I got some compliments, but a lot of people didn't talk about them. And I don't even mean to show these off to nobody to brag or nothing, but I'm just trying to prove a point to you guys. Like, a lot of the materialistic things aren't important. And and it was just young. It was at that time, like I said, it was just us just being young, and, you know, times where people was like roast sessions, things like that. So, like, you know, kids was just being silly. So, you know, I didn't have the mentality that I had today to even think about the stuff like this now. But yeah, that's the whole point here, man. So if you are an unfortunate kid, don't listen to what these people gotta say. That's all I gotta tell you. Just keep like, I mean, you know, you want to look presentable. But, you know, as long as your shoes ain't got no holes in it, just keep wearing the shoes that you got. And that's it. That's all I can tell you. That's the whole purpose of this video. That, you know, this is a whole learning experience, and that's what this storytelling is for. Like, you know, it's a learning experience. I'm here to share my story with you guys, and that you guys get the inside look at my experiences, so you guys can learn from it as well. And, you know, like, my point is, like, you know, nobody threatened me or like, you know, nobody got too disrespectful. Now it was just debates about it, so I didn't take no offense to it. Like, oh, like, yo, like, you know. But as long as nobody's bullying you, or nobody's trying to threaten you or saying nothing crazy like that would, you know, offend you real bad. If you're not going through that, then it's not that big of a deal. Just keep wearing your shoes. So I can tell you, stand up for yourself. And that's what I did too. You know, I stood up for myself. I mean, even though I was lying. I'm not gonna lie. I was lying, but, you know, I stood up for myself. And that's it. So yeah, man, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. If you guys watch to the end, comment influence in the comment section, man. Let me know who the real watchers of Rellytoorell is, man. I appreciate all my supporters. And this is only episode 1, so, you know, every single episode we're gonna get better. I appreciate all my 100 subscribers, even though this was recorded before the 100 subscribers. This video is for my 100 subscribers when it drops. So yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate all my supporters, man. And stay tuned for the next Rellytoorell narratives. And I am out. Peace.